Hello friends, welcome to another episode of Techie Tuesdays. I'm your host and coach S. Ravi Kumar. Techie Tuesdays is a weekly show where I answer to your tech and career related queries. So if you like my answers, then please subscribe to my channel and share this video with your friends, family and colleagues. So without further ado, let's get started with today's questions. Today's first question is asked by Aryan Tiwari. He is asking, how do I learn coding without online classes and app subscriptions? Aryan, when you say that without online courses and app subscription, I think you are talking about online sites like Pluralsight, Lynda, Udemy, Coursera, etc., where you have to pay subscriptions. So if you don't want to pay for subscriptions, then you can view videos on whatever technology or whatever coding language you want to learn via YouTube. So there are many free video on almost every language you want to learn on YouTube. So you can subscribe to my channel where I talk about .NET related technologies, or if you Google search for videos on whatever technology you want to learn, you will get many free videos. However, my suggestion for you would be to learn programming via hiring a tutor. You can hire tutor via different sites like Urban Pro or Urban Clap, or there are many tutor sites which provide tutors in any language you want to learn. There are many benefits to learn via a tutor, because tutor is not only just a teacher, he will also be an advisor. Whenever you are stuck somewhere, you can discuss with him and you can talk with him that what problem you are facing, and he can guide you throughout that problem. So it would be like getting a mentor in whatever things you are learning. So the best way for you would be to hire a tutor on whichever technology you want to learn. Another way would be, of course, via free courses, that is YouTube, and create an application. So make sure that you create one application in whichever programming language you are learning, so that you try those concepts practically and get accustomed to all the programming terminology in real world problem. Next question is from Vinod Singh. He is asking, where can I find a fully experienced website developer for designing a SEO friendly e-commerce website at a reasonable price? Vinod, there are many websites from where you can hire developers for doing anything you want. Whether you want to develop an e-commerce website or a regular desktop application or mobile application. Some of these websites are Upwork.com, Guru.com, Freelancer.com and Toptal.com. Now regarding reasonable price, you have to check that what price is reasonable for you, but you can get good developers on a market standard price from these websites. Next question is from Shashadri Keshwan. He is asking, is working in a startup rather than an MNC becoming a fad nowadays? Shashadri, frankly speaking, this thing changes based on person to person. So many students think that working in a startup will give them opportunity to learn new things, or maybe they can get some quick bucks by getting equity or those kind of things, percentage or other kind of things. So that's why many people go to startups. Those who are looking for secured jobs, they work in MNC or they look for a job in MNC. However, no job is secure in private sector, that's for sure. But still, if the people who are looking for secure job, primarily they go for MNCs, and those who are looking for money in the terms of equity or recognition, so they primarily go for startups. So it's not a fad, it's just depends on personal thinking. Next question is from Senthil Kumar P. He is asking, everyone in the IT industry says they have too much workload and stress. Is that true? What is it like that is not present in other fields? Senthil, it's not only in IT, it's almost all private sector wherever deadlines are involved. Because I have mostly interacted with software development people, and a few of my friends are in consulting and other sectors also. So I have seen them more stressed than myself, and they are more busy than myself. So it's not only with IT sector, it's moreover with the sectors wherever deadlines are involved. So almost all the sectors, I would say. And however, it can be managed, the stress can be managed by proper planning and following the procedures, but usually people people have a tendency to show off their busyness and stress as a badge of honor. So that's another reason that people say that, okay, I'm very stressed, I have very much workload. But if they follow the plan which they have created or their seniors have created, then they won't be that much stress. But just they, like most of the time people do multitasking, they get stuck in something, or sometimes it happens that there are many unforeseen problems also, like some technical problem for which they haven't estimated. So those kind of, or some feature creep which comes at the last moment, for which they are not prepared. So still that can be tackled if done with a calm mind. However, people take busyness and stress as a badge of honor. So that's another reason to people say that, okay, they are stressed. It's not with the IT industry, it's with other industries also. Next question is from Srinivas Kari. He's asking, in the IT industry, do companies and manager often see a link between the performance of an individual employee and the college they graduated from? Good performance is equal to good college, bad performance is equal to bad college? Srinivas, no. Performance is never measured via your college, or they don't see that if you are a bad performer then you must be from a bad college, or if you are a good performer then you must be from a good college. Your performance has nothing to do with your college. So whether you are from a good college or a bad college, it doesn't matter if you don't give good performance. At the time of your performance review, the only thing which is considered is your performance throughout the year, not your college. The college is primarily considered at the time of hiring a fresher. Most of the time hiring a fresher, when some fresher is being hired, at that time of course they go to a good college or wherever they have tie up with. Most of the time of course they consider the college they have tie up with as a good college, that's why they go there. So at the time of fresher hiring, the college is being taken care, that whether it is a good college or bad college. And also at very senior level promotions. So, and it has nothing to do with performance. Primarily it is just to show off that, okay, this guy, let's say this is the CTO or this is the CEO of a mid-level company or a large company. So they have to create a portfolio, they have to give a background, and they have to showcase the good parts of or positive things of that person. So at that time of course they kind of see that from where they have done their graduation, or from where they have done their MBA or whatever. So at that time they showcase that, okay, they have done from Harvard or ISV or IIM. So at that time they show it, or at the time of fresher hiring. So these are the two times when the colleges is seen, but not at the time of performance review. Next question is from Rahul. He has asked this question to me on Instagram. His question is, I need a suggestion. There is multiple languages if we are working as a full-time developer, full stack developer, such as HTML, CSS, JavaScript, jQuery, C#, Web API, SQL Server, so on. So how we will prepare for the interview if we are looking for a change? Rahul, the answer to your question is that you need to look into the job description wherever you are applying. So the job description of the job where you are applying will carry all the technologies which you need to give interview for. So probably you need to prepare for that. Most of the time HTML and CSS are not asked much from a full stack developer. The main questions they ask are from the technologies like JavaScript based, like JavaScript frameworks. For example, if you are going for a Angular, Node.js, like MERN stack or mean stack developer, so the questions will be asked from the databases, the questions will be asked from the SQL Server, the questions will be asked from the backend technology, whether it is C# or any other language, and the questions will be asked from the front-end frameworks. People usually don't ask HTML or CSS related questions. However, you still need to check the job description thoroughly, because sometimes it happens that in the job description it's more of a UI related job. even though they say that okay, this is a front end full stack developer job, but the job is more on the UI side. So you have to check with the job description that what kind of job it is, and then you have to prepare on the technologies. But as I said, that mostly you have to prepare for the JavaScript frameworks if it is there in the job description, the backend technology and SQL Server. You don't have to prepare much for HTML and CSS. Next question is from Ajay Police Patil. He is asking, if you are a fresher in a service product based company with 3 months of notice period, after how many years you will shift to new company? Most of the companies will not accept 3 months notice period. Ajay, this is a misconception that companies doesn't accept 3 months notice period. Nowadays many companies are accepting 3 months notice period, provided you clear all their technical interview rounds. And regarding how much time you should stay in a company, that typically depends on how is your career growth in that company. So if your career is growing, then I don't think that you should even think about leaving that company. Whether it is a product based company or a service based company, if you are learning new things, if your career is growing in terms of learning as well as a salary as well as position, then you don't think about changing that company. You should better stay in that company. Next question is from Ruby Agarwal. She is asking, I am having 10 years of teaching experience in electrical engineering, but now I want to switch my profession, most likely to manual tester or don't know what. Can you please guide me on this? Ruby, I think you should send your horoscope to me or birth detail to me for doing your horoscope analysis. Because frankly speaking, if you have 10 years experience in electrical engineering, I don't see any reason for you to change into manual testing. If you want to change your profession, then why not change your profession in the teaching itself? Like teaching line itself, you can move to online teaching, you can create YouTube videos related to electrical engineering. Because wherever you will go, you will be considered as a fresher if you switch to a completely new field. So you will be treated as a fresher there. And with 10 years of experience, I don't think that would be justified for you. So my suggestion for you would be to stick to your electrical engineering background and choose a field which is related to it somehow. And if you are good in teaching, you already have teaching experience, I think you should make online courses or YouTube videos or anything like that. You can use mobile just like I am using, so you can do something like that. That would be much more beneficial and you will get passive income also. So I won't suggest you to switch your career. I would suggest you to stick to your teaching career or do something which is related to your like electrical engineering background. Next question is from Satyam Jha. He is asking, why do companies not let their employees do freelancing? Satyam, the main reason behind this is focus. Let's say you got a freelance job along with your current job and your company also allows you to do the freelance job. So then what will happen that at the time of your company work, you will be thinking about freelance job, because freelance job is kind of an extra money. So you will think that okay, I am already earning a fixed amount of salary from my company. Let me finish this freelance job, because most of the time freelance gigs are basically time bounds and they have certain like you can say they are very time bound and very quick jobs. So in that scenario, your focus would be more on freelance job rather than on the actual company job. That is one of the main reason. The second main reason is of course data security. So many software companies, when you are working in that company, you are giving it, they have their secure environment. And if you are doing freelance work from there, it might happen that you use the code which is their proprietary code in some of your freelance work, which they don't want. So that is another reason. The next question is from Abdullah. He is asking, does a recruiter check GitHub profiles? Yes, Abdullah, many recruiters see your GitHub profiles nowadays. So it's good to put your GitHub profile in your resume. There are many scenarios where recruiters contact candidates based on their GitHub profile. So they see their GitHub profiles, they see that they are contributing to many open source products, their code is good, they have kind of a reputation in their GitHub profile. So they contact them also based on their GitHub profiles. So in simple words, yes, they check your GitHub profiles. Next question is from Aditya. He is asking, what do I do? I got recruited as a fresher in a firm with 80k employees as a SWE at 10 lakh package. I thought I will be working on their product used by millions, but instead I am assigned a team which works on application only meant for employees. No team change. Aditya, first of all, congratulations on getting a fresher job at 10 lakh package. It's an achievement in itself. My suggestion for you would be to stick to the project to which you are assigned. Learn whatever you can from that project and the company, and then think about either a project change or a company change. Because as a fresher, you have got a very good opportunity. It doesn't matter whether you are working on a customer facing application or an internal application, as long as you are getting opportunity to learn the technologies which you want to learn. So my suggestion for you would be to stick to the project which you are assigned and learn as much as possible. Next question is from Anmol. He is asking, what are the most important skills a software engineer should learn in college? Anmol, I'll tell you both the technical skills as well as non-technical skills which you should learn in your college. When we talk about technical skills, you should learn about the main concepts which are being taught in the college. For example, object-oriented programming or DBMS concepts or your data structures, algorithm. So these are all technical concepts which of course you should learn, because in college it is being taught also and you get time to practice that also. So you should learn those things. That is your technical skills. Now let me tell you 4 non-technical skills which are most important for a software engineer to know, and college is the best time to learn that. Those skills are: number 1, solving real life problems using the technology. So how can you solve a real life problem using the technology? Let's say you are creating a list of some kind. So instead of creating that list in Excel or Word or any other simple tool, you should create an application yourself with whatever language you have learned. So probably the best, simplest example would be create a contact list application, whether it is an Android application, a desktop application or a web application. Whatever language or framework you are learning throughout your semester, create an application using that thing. That way, not only you will learn the language or the framework better, you will also learn how to solve real life problems using technology, or you will learn how to merge the real life situations with technology. The second is attention to detail. So whatever you are learning, you should know it in detail. And that of course, this one is related to the first one. So if you implement anything, any technical solution in real life problem, you will of course be good in attention to detail. So yes, give attention to detail. Whatever you are learning, get the details of that thing, that how does it work, why you have chosen a technology, what are the benefits and all those things. So attention to detail is the second one. The third one is communication. It is the most important skill which is needed by a software engineer. There are many jokes, many memes in software industries on how a requirement is not properly implemented because of improper communication. So improve your communication skills as much as possible, whether it is written communication or oral communication, spoken communication. How to do that? Participate in debates, events, give presentations to your class, write blog articles of whatever new things you are learning. So by doing this, you will not only gain confidence, you will also improve your communication skills. Last but not the least is networking skills. And I'm not talking about computer networking. I'm talking about people networking. Grow your network with your seniors, with your peers, or technology professionals. There are many meetups or local conferences happening where students are allowed. Join those conferences, go to those meetups, network with people, learn from them. They will help you in long-term career growth. So these 4 non-technical skills are must, and college is the best place to learn these 4 non-technical skills. Next question is from Abhishek. He's asking, what actually happens in an IT company? Can anyone explain about the role of a fresher from the computer background play there? So Abhishek, I'm assuming that you are a fresher. That's why you are asking that what are the roles of a fresher, or what are the roles and responsibilities of a fresher in an IT company. So frankly speaking, it primarily depends on which type of IT company you have joined. IT company is very broad spectrum. IT company involves ITES companies also, like call centers or software companies or hardware companies. So it primarily depends on what kind of company you have joined. But irrespective of which company you have joined or what kind of company you have joined, as a fresher, your first job will be to get a training on whatever kind of work the company is doing. So most of the companies, what they do is give the fresher a training for like at least minimum of I think 15 days to maximum of 3 months or 6 months. Once you complete your training, at the end of the training itself, what are your roles and responsibilities, that will be communicated to you by your HR manager or the manager assigned to you. Next question is from Shayak Sarkar. He is asking, how much multi-threaded programming is an entry-level software engineer supposed to know? Shayak, it primarily depends on what kind of project you are going to work or what kind of project you have worked earlier. Usually it's not expected from an entry-level software engineer to have deep knowledge of multi-threaded programming. But if you have mentioned in your resume that I have created a multi-threaded application, or you, like most of the time what happens that people kind of highlight or bold in their resume some different things which they have done. So if you have mentioned in your resume that yes, you have done multi-threaded programming, then of course the interviewer is going to grill you, or he will ask you deep questions, because you have mentioned that yes, you have worked on a multi-threaded application or you have created a multi-threaded application. But you haven't, if you haven't mentioned multi-threaded programming in your resume, then it is just like you should know just the regular concept that what is multi-threaded programming and what kind of keywords are available in the language of your choice where you are working to implement multi-threaded programming. Not the syntax, but some keywords will do. So these were my answer to your tech and career related queries in this episode of Techie Tuesdays. I hope you liked my answers. And if you liked my answers, then please subscribe to my channel and share this video with your friends, family and colleagues. So until my next video, take care. Bye bye.